Okay, everyone, I want to take a look at changing some things within Fusion 360's drawing environment, some different settings. This is a little bit updated as Fusion gets updated periodically. We have some different options that just kind of, maybe sometimes you start to see in different areas get moved or anything like that. And then this most recent version, as of July 5th, 2020, this is kind of how we can do that. Right now, one of the things in Activity 124 and also some activities within the Project Lead the Way curriculum for IED, you need to go through and change the appearance of some of these dimensions. And it used to be they used to have them all down here in the bottom. And what we can do is actually we'll see these over here in document settings. So if I hit the little arrow to expand, you'll see there is an option to go through and change these over. So I can change the dimension format by clicking on the little icon that shows up to the right. So instead of this, it goes through and shows all these different options we can go through and show. So like here, um, when you go through and you do, if we want to change over to fractional, we can change the dimension style from decimal to fractional and to what level of precision that we want to communicate it down to. So here I'm going to go ahead and say OK. So here's our fractional measurements. So again, everything looks pretty good. This one may need to be brought up, so I can kind of drag him up just a little bit if you need to make any adjustments or movements. So, but that's kind of how you can change some of those different drawing things. Within the file that we have here, we can adjust some of the different things like display leading zeros, no. So that is an ASME standard. Leading zeros are zeros that show up before the decimal place. Display trailing zeros, those are ones that show up after and to a certain level of precision. So, and you can always change some of those things as well. As the new feature you can do is also editing line widths and showing some things like that, so you can actually print those out. You can also change your dimension units here. So again, if you click on any one of these, it brings up this menu here. But here since we're in inches, we're in third angle projection. We can change the font type. I really prefer Arial. I think Arial reads well and it prints well. And then the text height, you can make it bigger or smaller depending on what you're kind of working with. The minimum text height for ASME drawings usually is an eighth of an inch, 0.125. So that's why it's set at 0.12. And then you can always change over to millimeters if you need as well. So here, there's all the ones set up in millimeters. Obviously, we wouldn't have a fractional format for those, so we can always change those back to decimal and then say OK, and that would go through and show how many decimals. And even then, the level of precision, so the linear level of precision can be noted here. So usually there's no decimals, or they kind of go through and do nice round whole numbers, and so that's kind of how that would be shown. So that's one way to go through. Again, for the activity that's shown in the curriculum, we are going to be working with inches. They're going to be in fractional. And as far as this goes, I usually do down to the quarter of an inch. And then if you, usually for angles, they will go through and show some different things. But, those are some different options here. So you can see this kind of gets cut off, which you can see that corresponds to this menu here. So the leading zeros, trailing zeros, display dimension units. So if you want to show the dimension units, you can do that. Usually you don't see that. Usually it's kind of noted somewhere on the drawing. Usually you got a little drawing note that will say, noting those things. So, and usually it takes up some space on the drawing. So usually, you can put in a little text note if you need to, and to be able to place those. So, note all dimensions in inches, and that can go through and be used as well. So as we do that, there we go. There's my note shows up. So there's always some different things that can show up on various drawings and things like that. But wanted to show you just a real quick way of how to change those sheet settings, and it has changed a little bit, and it will probably kind of move around a little bit as Fusion continues their drawings update. So the drawings environment is going to be continuously updated as it moves forward, and there'll probably be a lot of changes. So a lot of good changes coming our way.